For those of you who have been involved with the SPA for a long time, you know that we put on a lot of training. And we're very fortunate to have SBR consultants who are our retained sales professionals or sales experts, and they give us training as and when. Now, we've devised 3 or 4 masterclasses over the last 18 months, which have been very well received. In fact, they were oversubscribed. And we try and develop new masterclasses in light of what's happening in the marketplace. So with that in mind, I'd like to introduce you to Stuart Lotherington, who's going to give a quick review of what we've covered during the pandemic period, but also tell us about the next masterclass, which is imminent. So big round of applause for Stuart.
Thanks, team. My connections, I think, I'll try and keep the thing going with this connections with Jack Straw, and I had to go outside and ask him, what's the connection, and found out that his father was a salesman, so that's as much as it gets. And my only connection with Essex is that I was invited by Essex County Council to a driver awareness course, which overlines there, so it happened, Grays, it happened in Grays. Anyway, it's lovely to see everybody, and it's nice to be here. I can't believe that no one's talked about COVID kilos. I struggled. Am I the only one that struggled to get the trousers on? It's the first time. Just a show of hands, who'd struggled with this? Oh, thank God for that. Right. Okay, brilliant. Well, look, let's move on. We've got a masterclass coming up. It's, as Tim just said, they've been really well attended. If you are a member of the SBA, you can actually go back on there into the members area and go and see these. The 3 subject matters that we've covered before is, how do you sell in the virtual world? Well, it's obviously not going to be that difficult going further forward, but it's definitely going to be blended. And the major example of that is the fact that you can actually go and see more people, and you might change your approach or your process to sales if you do it that particular way. The other thing is actually just how do you actually sell online? So if you are got people that's doing that, there are a whole load of nuances that you might need to be aware of that you would be useful to have a look at and go back and see that particular area. And the other one was just overcoming and dealing with objections and the challenges. And that's the reason and the purpose of the next session that we've got coming up. So one of the areas that we've talk about and break down is the how do you focus on performance. And we basically break all of our things down into 3 particular areas. So one of those is the skills you need, one is also the mindset, and then also the systems you put into place. Now, the biggest area that we're working on with so many of our clients at the moment is process. How do you evolve your process? And it's great to hear so many of you are developing your processes and your manufacturing and then making it much more lean and efficient. The same thing can apply to exactly the same thing when it comes to sales. And we build that on habits and development of habits, and so that you can have that accountability for everybody within your business. Now, I realize that I'm also between you and the bar. I'm the last person up, so I'm going to be really quick with this. But one of the things that we do talk about is how do you get your people to stay on track? They've definitely picked up different habits. And so there's definitely an element of unconscious competency or incompetence in this particular case where you don't know what you don't know. So if you haven't done anything for the sales component of your business around how to be more effective virtually or how to deal with some of the issues you might be having with supply chains, lead times, price rises, then I would suggest they look at some of the material that we shared and also attend on the 14th next month. Then you've got a situation where you now know that you're stupid and you're in this conscious incompetency, and then hopefully go into conscious competency and then unconscious competency. Now, the reason why I'm highlighting that is just fundamentally is that over the last 18 months, we've probably got very used to everything. But going back out and seeing people again, we might have picked up some bad habits, but we wouldn't know because we could possibly be in stage 1 where we wouldn't know that we've picked up bad habits. So I'd always suggest sharpening the saw, sending people along on the courses that we're putting together. Now, in addition to that, as members of the SBA may know, we also have a hotline. And because this has been popular, we've actually put 2 consultants on that, plus myself. So there's 3 of us in the SBR team that are available for you if you want to have any advice for up to half an hour on any matters relating to customer relations or sales. Now, with that in mind, let's think about the customer experiences that you've been having. Now, we think about this of worst customer experience. And I want to prove to you that you have unconscious competence. Because in your mind, what would be a terrible customer experience? Now, if you come along the course, we'll go through that, but you know what bad customer experiences are, and so easily, therefore, to think of a plan to overcome that. Now, when we talk about this, we want to be building great customer experience. Now, I'm talking about particularly price increases. Now, I don't want anyone to talk about the amounts of price increases, but who here has had to have a price increase in the last 12 months? At least one. Who's had at least two? Who's had at least three? Who's had at least four? Has anyone had more than five? Well, that gives us a flavour, doesn't it, of what's going on. I bet your customers love you. Now, how do you overcome all of those sort of situations? And I'm sure you've dealt with it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I've even spoken to some of you about having to do that, and you have been able to successfully pass on those price increases. But there are some other ways to be able to do it, or you might want to have some considerations with it. So that's fundamentally what the workshop's going to be about. And we're going to be talking about how to deal with tough times or good times and make sure that happens. But in the workshop, there's going to be 11 key customer expectations that we're going to share with you. And there's going to be 6 strategies on how to overcome or set customer expectations. So hopefully that's whetted your appetite to attend the next masterclass. And very simply, just as an insight on that one, some of you may be aware of this one, but dealing with customer objections, there is a QFFFQ formula to deal with that one. So I'll just share that with you. And some of you who have already attended will know this, but we'll go and explain that in further detail. And there'll also be an element of negotiation. Now, has anyone actually been on a negotiation course? Some description. 1, 2, a couple of you. Well, if you are familiar with negotiation, you will know that basically the key things, I'll just go back into that in a second, is that there are 3 key areas of negotiation. There are constants, coverts, and variables. That's SBR terminology, but what isn't SBR terminology, and if you were to go onto any negotiation course, you'll probably hear BATNA and ZOPA. You know those BATNAs and ZOPAs? But if you're not familiar with those, how do you work out your ZOPA, which is Zone of Potential Agreement, and how do you have best alternative to a negotiated agreement, which is the BATNA? So we'll expand those for you to give you that further insight. So there's an awful lot to cram in 2 hours. Hope you're looking forward to coming along. That will be on the 14th of October. And now it's wrap up and drink time. Over to you, Tim. Thanks very much.
You always need a buddy who can make up ground, don't you? We've done it. Well done, Stuart. That's brilliant. A couple of things. Thank you, everyone, for attending. This has been a wonderful, recreation of what we used to have. It's been fantastic. Personally, I feel, blessed to have you all here and delighted that you all travelled. It would have been easy to wake up this morning, listen to the radio and think, you know what, it's just a bit risky, I'm not going to go. But I have to thank you all for committing and coming. So that is brilliant. If there are any people, I'm going to put a slide up in a second, and it's all the new members we've had since we last met physically. So if your company name is on that slide, would you come and see teacher afterwards? Because we have certificates for you, and we'd just like to, shake your hand if you're happy for us to do that, sanitized or unsanitized, and take a photograph for your own use as new members of the SPA. So all those people are new members since we last met, which is brilliant. We've also got one more slide, which is future events, and I'll need to turn around because I don't have them in front of me. So Friday the 24th of September, we have our normal supplier member Zoom call. So if you are a supplier member and you haven't been along, you'll have an invitation in your inbox. If you don't, ask our beautiful Katie here, and she will send you an invite. But we just have a chat about shared experiences and questions or anything that the SPA can do for you. On the 3rd of October, we have the same, but for converter members. They're very, very well attended, so please attend that. And Stuart alluded to it, Thursday the 14th of October, the Sales Masterclass, again on Zoom. No limit to the number of people that your organisation can put forward, but it is a first come, first served, and we're limited to 30. So get that in your diary and make sure you're on that. And excitingly, 31st of January, we'll have our 103rd conference, which is at a new hotel, the Abbey Hotel in Redditch, a lovely place. And a lot of suppliers, we've talked about it on the supplier Zooms, want to exhibit their wares. We were talking about perhaps having a tabletop exhibition, which is a bit of a halfway house, but we don't physically have the space to do that at Abbey Hotel. So we've bitten the bullet. We've booked St George's, which is a fantastic venue. We've had multiple shows there before. So we're going to have a full-blown UK corrugated trade show, which is brilliant news, 27th to the 29th of June. It's a 3-day window for setup and strike, but it's going to be a 2-day exhibition. So again, first come, first served. There will be a limited amount of space. So if every supplier member wants a huge stand, it ain't going to happen. So get your, make sure that you let us know that you want a stand, and we'll be sending an email out to all suppliers, confirming the rates, the booth sides. But I would suggest if you want a stand, get in there quick, because they will be oversubscribed, I'm sure. So that's pretty much everything. Have I forgotten anything? Oh yes, thank you. You'll see these around the place. We do want your feedback. We've got some Kindles here which have got the questions preloaded on it. It'll take you about 30 seconds to answer them. If you've got your own device that reads QR codes, please do. We'd be delighted to have your feedback about today so that we can make future events as good or better. Okay, it's time for a drink. And the bar is free until dinner, so please enjoy it. Okay, thank you.